Hey everybody, this is John from /bash, and today I am bringing you another Choosing Beggar Reddit video. If you are new to the channel, then subscribe, and ring that notifications bell so you don't miss out on the fun. In our first story, a choosing beggar wants some presents. She doesn't want to be in your presence. Let's jump right in. A few days ago, a girl, mid-20s, that I knew from my hometown posted on Facebook that her parents weren't going to allow her to spend Christmas with them because of pandemic concerns. She made a whole big pity post about how they're always doing this, how all of her siblings have been allowed to visit but she isn't, and how she's going to be all alone for the holidays because her parents don't care about her. This struck a chord with a bunch of people on her Facebook because they started commenting how she was more than invited to come to their house for Christmas dinner with their families, and how sad they were that she was being forced to spend it alone. Multiple people offered her dinner and company for the holiday. She did not respond to any of these comments or even acknowledge them. Instead, about 20 minutes after posting it, she made her own comment on her post about how sad she was that she'd spent all her money on Christmas presents for her family that I can't return. Why can't you return them? And how she now has an empty bank account and a tree with no presents under it. She posted an image of her empty Christmas tree to her Facebook story following this addition to her post. She made no mention of any of her friends' comments with offers to take her in for the holidays. After an hour or so of the post being up, she deleted it in its entirety and then made a new post that said, "If anyone wants to buy me a gift for Christmas so I have something to put under my tree, here's my Amazon wish list. Be sure to select the gift wrapping option before sending it to me." I don't know if she knows that it costs extra on Amazon to have items gift wrapped, or if she just expects people to pay that extra fee for her because she deserves it or something. Either way, today she's been posting all about what she and her family are doing for Christmas at her parents' house together. I guess they patched things up miraculously within a day or two. I would say I'm just being cynical, but this is not the first time this has happened. She did almost the exact same thing around her birthday last year as well, with a remarkably similar story regarding her parents, without the pandemic mentioned as it was pre-pandemic. A whole bunch of sob story posts about being alone for the day, and then shoehorning in her Amazon wish list after people offered to spend the day with her. Then magically all those posts disappear by the day of her birthday when she posts pics of all the gifts her parents gave her when she was with them. Same soup, just reheated. In story 2, a choosing beggar sister-in-law wants more expensive medication. My youngest brother and his wife got into some serious financial problems because of his wife's medical issues. His wife, I'll call her Tammy Faye because of the amount of makeup she wore, was on several kinds of generic medications that she took 3 times a day. My daughter and son-in-law are pharmacists and owned their own store at the time, so I asked them if they could give Tammy Faye her prescriptions at cost and I would pay for them. They agreed and had the prescriptions transferred from the old pharmacy. A few days later, my son-in-law got a fax from the doctor's office with all new brand name prescriptions, which would have cost me a small fortune. He called the doctor's office to find out why the change from generic 3 times a day meds to once a day extended release meds. The office explained that Tammy Faye requested the change because she couldn't remember to take her meds 3 times a day. My son-in-law was pissed. He told the office that I, his mother-in-law, was paying for these meds and that I couldn't afford all those brand name medications. The doctor's office called Tammy Faye and told them that they were changing her back to generic meds. Now Tammy Faye was pissed. She called my son-in-law and cussed him out for calling her doctor. My son-in-law told Tammy Faye that he was filling her prescriptions as a courtesy to me and that he didn't have to fill her prescriptions. Then he immediately transferred the new brand name prescriptions to her previous pharmacy and washed his hands of her. I let my brother know what his wife tried to pull, and he was not happy with her. Why can't choosing beggars just accept the kindness they are offered? In story 3, could this be the first time a choosing beggar is in the right? I saw the choosing beggar after I parked my car in front of a pharmacy. My girlfriend had just arrived in town and I just wanted to make a quick stop to buy some condoms and a toothbrush. He approached me without a mask, asking for food. I gave him a mask I had in the car and asked him to use it before I would listen to what he had to say. He put the mask on and told me he wanted food for his family of 5. I didn't ask, but I was pretty sure he was homeless and camped out nearby, as so many were in my city. I really didn't want to make my detour longer than I needed to, so I could spend quality time with my girlfriend, but I can't stand the idea of people going hungry when I'm doing quite well for myself. I said I'd go into one of the restaurants on the street and buy him something, and he wanted me to go to a cheaper one a few blocks further. This irritated me, and I said I wasn't going to do that. I went into the one closest to me and asked them to suggest something for a family of 5. The bill was quite high, and it wasn't even really a whole bunch of food, just pretty expensive. I handed him the receipt and told him that he could pick up the food with it when it was ready. He just looked at it incredulously and started complaining, asking me if I couldn't just give him the money. He had a ton of stuff he needed to buy, such as diapers and stuff. I was already irritated and asked him if he wanted it or not. He said he did, and I left on my way. Looking back though, I can totally understand his reaction. I had spent on one meal, albeit for his whole family, but even so, probably more money than he saw in a month. About 120 in my local currency, reais. While it wasn't even that much for me, it could have probably bought a week's worth of groceries for him, plus diapers for his baby. For me to have spent it so frivolously on one single meal was for him, in some ways, a capitalist smack in the face. 95% of the posts here are of entitled, privileged, choosing beggars acting like buttholes. In this case, however, I do feel I was the butthole and managed to make the beggar feel even worse about his situation, even though I was of some help. My take from this: if you want to help someone, truly help them the way they need you to. Don't do it just to not feel bad about yourself. In today's final story, is my friend a choosing beggar? A friend of mine just moved out of her parents' house at age 26, and I don't think that's a bad thing, just bringing it up to provide context. She tried college out a few times but never felt like it was for her, which I also respect. She made money babysitting and nannying for the past 10 plus years while trying to publish a book. Recently, her aunt and uncle in a different state offered her a job nannying their young son and cleaning the house. The conditions were that she worked 25-ish hours per week for them, and in return she could live rent-free in a 2-bedroom apartment they own down the road, as well as a weekly paycheck on top of that. She jumped on the opportunity, since she's been wanting to move out of her parents' place for some time now, but hasn't had the ability. She's been there for about a month now. The nannying has worked out fine, but she told me yesterday in an urgent phone call that she's decided she can't bring herself to clean anymore. She feels like it's too below her and demeaning to clean someone else's house. It triggers her depression, which I believe and don't take lightly, so she asked for my advice on what to do in this situation. If it were me, I would do the job that I agreed to, especially for the compensation they were offering her. It's hard for me to put myself in her shoes because I find cleaning relaxing and therapeutic. This is a temporary job, so I feel like she should just stick it out until she can find something else. This job allowed her to finally move out of her parents' place. It was pretty much her only way out at this point. She hasn't gained experience in other fields of work and refuses to have any sort of job that requires her to have coworkers, a fixed schedule, or someone supervising her. I feel like she's being ungrateful and too picky about her situation, but I also validate her mental health struggles. Am I a horrible person? What should I tell her? This is John from /bash. Please hit that like button to help me with the mighty YouTube algorithm and subscribe if you are new. Thank you for watching, and we will see you in the next one.